Let's dive into the topic here of market-led strategies. So this sounds really interesting, but what does it actually mean? So let's start with you, Karsten. What does market-led strategies mean for you and your company?
What do market-led strategies mean? It's all about competition. If you put your demand into a marketplace and you manage it to get your own suppliers into this marketplace, you have always the comparison between your suppliers and the suppliers that are in the marketplace, and you automatically get the best out of it without having a large effort in procurement. And that's what I say. I believe in the mechanism of the market, and the marketplace is the perfect place to play that game.
So it's all about transparency and competition, right?
Exactly.
Zafer, what's your take on it?
Yes, yeah, I'm going to say a similar expression as my colleague. In fact, today, more and more with the digitalization, we have to enhance our procurement skill in our strategic operations. So with market-led strategy, we are going to implement more and more in this way, more time for high added value. So with market-led strategy, we are able to delegate to our requesters directly some procurement operation.
So you're basically taking out the middleman, if you will, by allowing the line of business to buy directly from the supplier.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah, and for us, Unite, it's really like the creating and maintaining the ecosystem where demand and offer can meet without friction. And it means for us to really create this fully transparency toward the buyers, but as well to guarantee the full neutrality for the suppliers, right? And managing these two aspects are creating this demand meeting supply without friction.
Let me add one thing.
Yeah.
From our perspective as a customer of Unite, the important thing is the neutral position of Unite. Because very often you find marketplaces where the one who is maintaining the marketplace is also selling his products through the marketplace, which maybe gives a filter. I say maybe because you never know it, you don't have the transparency, but you have this neutral marketplace, this neutral company maintaining the marketplace, you really have competition, and it all comes down to competition in the end, in my opinion.
Yeah, and trust suppliers as trust to be, on a marketplace because they know they're going to be fairly managed, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, why do you think this is important, and what are some of the challenges you faced when you implemented this? If we start with you, Zafer.
Yeah, there is a change management step which is very important, So we have to convince our requester and the stakeholders. And in this operation with marketplace, especially for your marketplace, when they see the solution, which is very simple, very very simple to implement and very simple in the utilization. So it's a big advantage to implement this kind of solutions. And for the change management, so it's very easy for us to convince our requesters to onboard themselves in these solutions.
Yeah, and you have a very small procurement team, right?
Yeah, no. I have more than 30 buyers in my team, yes.
Yep. Karsten, what's what are the key points here, and then what are the challenges?
Let me take a little bit different approach to answer to it.
Yeah.
When we went into this strategy, we had an e-procurement tool in place. Maybe some of you have as well. We had various catalogs in the tool. We had a lot of punch-out catalogs, and what we found is that we do not really have in the punch-outs a comparison between the pricings of the different suppliers, which meant once you're in the punch-out of a supplier, you start to live in that ecosystem and you buy things without knowing if it's a good or competitive price. And the large catalogs with hundreds, thousands of items, I mean, you can negotiate them, you get them, you can put them in the system, but can you really check that the prices in there are the prices that you have negotiated for all the articles? You can't. At least you can't with a normal effort that you are willing to spend on it. That's where we came from, and that's where the idea was born, to say we have to put it all in one, where we have to compare it. And that's the philosophy behind. Just take the different boxes and put them into one box, and then have especially a very well-performing search engine in front, which really finds the articles, the one who is sitting in front of the system, and these are really the business lines who are doing this, are looking for, and help them compare and help them to find out the best offer, not only in terms of price, but in terms of availability, of shipment costs and all that stuff. And this is what we found in Unite in the end.
So to me, it comes back to the transparency, right? And the transparency creates that competition between the suppliers in the marketplace. So what's your take here, Christel?
Yeah, so I will definitely go with Karsten and Zafer on having the power of the comparison and as well the engagement of the users, because what we see as well with our customers is most of the time one of the challenges is the resources that you have in procurement teams, right? And at some point it drives decentralization. And Zafer, I remember you mentioned the buyerless organization you were building on. Yes. And so for that, it means that you delegate all the procurement, especially in an indirect spend, to the users or to these engineers or office managers or logistic heads and team leads. And for that, you need to have a very intuitive process, but as well to empower them with some change management and some great search aspects so that they can find very quickly, because they have their business to run, right? So they need to be very efficient. So here the combination, having the full range and credibility of suppliers and items that they look for, and the search and the data that is really bringing very quickly in a swift manner what they're looking for, is indeed at a fair price because they have the comparison. Then it's what makes them buy into the model.
Sounds really interesting. So if we look at then the implementation of this strategy and the tools needed to support this strategy, what are the key considerations there if we start with you, Zafer?
As I said, the technology is very important because we have an existing solution, in our company like SAP or other systems. So the connection, the capacity of the connection of the system is very important, and we solve this capacity in Unite because for us, generally by experience, we spend 6 months to implement a punch-out catalog, but Unite it would be very fast. So in less than 1 month, we had the Unite solution to our requesters, including the change management and the training session. So as I said, the more important is the adaptation of your supplier. So in our case is Unite and Unite IT staff. This was very important for us because when we present the solution, it's okay, but then it's very important to implement this as a concrete solution. It was very important. As said, in fact, we launched a few years ago in Arkema a buyerless program. Because our goal is, having focus, our buyer having focus on strategy, on category management, on higher added value tasks. And for this, we have to implement very fastly a solution after sourcing a solution in the market. And regarding the digitalization, so we have identified some actors like Unite in Europe. And today, Unite permit us to have our buyer on contracts on supplier relationship management, and for other tail spend, we provide to the requester the possibility to use the system, and then at the month we have the KPI from Mercateo, for example. We are able to follow the activity, how many orders we place, and we have only one invoicer. It's a very big advantage. We have only when there is a claim, we have Unite. So I told you, and to finish. We have the possibility to place our need very fastly. Less than 4 hours, we are able to see an order. When we compare before, we spend 4 days, and now we are at less than 4 hours.
And are you using this this strategy globally, or?
Yes, it's a global. But the buyerless program that we implemented is a global Arkema program in all our region, but we split this strategy by region because we don't have the same players in America, in Europe, and in Asia. So we take the decision to implement Unite as a partner in this strategy in Europe, And the other advantage that we see in this solution regarding digitalization is when we have local supplier, we are able to onboard these local suppliers in these solutions.
What about you, Karsten? What do you see as some of the key things to consider when you implement a market-led strategy?
For us, one key point, or the major key point when starting to implement Unite, was really integrate the system into our existing ERP system to make sure that from a compliance side, all approval processes and all that stuff is well organized, and to have this run in an automatic way, because we do not want to administrate our users once in our ERP system, another one time in Unite, and maybe in other platforms. So this is one thing that is very, very important, as well as everything which comes after the Unite purchase order is approved, to have this automatically processed from really procure to pay in our ERP system, to really have automatic procedures up to the invoice that is coming in and that can be processed automatically. So for us, a very, very important key point was to have a seamless integration of this Unite marketplace into our world, so that we do not really leave in the front end our world and our systems. And this is what we really managed to set up with Unite. And I think this is also a very, very important key factor in terms of getting the workforce work with the system, because for them it's easy to understand, to use it. And at that point also, Unite was very responsive in terms of trainings, in terms of support with videos that we could post and stuff like that. So these are the two things: seamless integration, in my opinion, and then picking the people up from where they are and not putting them into another system, but let them work in their existing and well-known ecosystem.
Yep. Keeping it simple, right?
Exactly.
So both Zafer and Karsten has talked about some of the capabilities of the Unite platform, but maybe you could give us a little bit more detail on how Unite are really helping them implement these types of strategies.
Yeah, so basically the point is, as we mentioned at the beginning, is really like to create this range credibility and to have this offering, available on the platform, so that you can create this competition or the transparency. And so that the first aspect that we are doing for the last 20 years, we are building our suppliers, pre-vetted suppliers. And here, very important, we didn't mention that, but it's all about the compliance and the values you want as well to be transported in your marketplace. And for that, we are very consistent with these values. We have EcoVadis Gold. This year, we're part of the 5% of the companies that actually have this accreditation. We are fair tax accredited, the only B2B platform in this sense. So making sure that in the 12 countries we are present, we are paying our taxes and social contributions responsibly. So these are as well some aspects where we confirm and create this neutrality towards the suppliers and transparency to the buyers. But more than that, we talked about this user experience, which is very important. So how to create, through our advanced search, through the data that we actually know, but with the last 20 years, we know the products, we can categorize them, we can create more demand-led type of search than a product-led type of search. So even that is increasing as well the choices that the requester can get, because they're working on the attributes of what they're looking for, and then we create more competition because we bring into diverse suppliers, maybe smaller suppliers that they didn't know that can have access to this demand. And then, as you mentioned, it's like the procure-to-pay aspect is being like a single creditor, acting as a single creditor, single point, so one contract, one invoice, and one single point of contact is then a major as well change for customers, because we can make it as well all this flexibility around finding the right offer or the fair offer for my need at the moment, but without having complexity of creating a new creditor or a new debitor, and without having the complexity of increasing my process costs. So that's where we are very supporting our customer there.
So you're not only delivering the marketplace, you're adding in a bunch of services on top of that. Exactly. So taking away some of that work of vetting and checking for sustainability and all that stuff from your customers. Yeah, nice. So if we sort of return to the theme of the conference here around 10x, what do you think you need to do further here to really sort of, in the spirit of 10x, what do you need with your market-led strategies? If we start with you here, Karsten.
I think the next step will be to really enlarge this marketplace to what is really out there as offering. That is the one thing, I think, to just avoid people always looking left and right. Second thing is that we really have to turn it into a different way of looking at it. Today, we are looking for something and the system gives us potential offers. But these are offers that are in the system. Tomorrow, I think we will specify what we need and the suppliers should reply to that so that our people do not need to check whether the product offering is really matching with all the demands they have, but that they can be sure that what is offered matches with their requirements or their specifications. And I think this will be two things, enlarging the potential participants in the marketplace and turning the thing around.
I see two topics. The first topic is about today. We talk about price. Yes, it's correct, but we have to look for CSR topic also. That means more and more, instead of taking the less cheaping, for example, regarding the price, I think the marketplace will propose us the CSR, the carbon footprint, and other data that can be permit us to take the products not for the price but for the CSR topics. It can be a topic that we can develop. And the second that I see, it's about the business development, because you see in Arkema, for example, our sales force use also marketplace because they are customers. And maybe we can have this connection between sales department and procurement department. For example, in Mercator, we have today discussion for sales about our trade, which is Bostik. Bostik, it's another product, a B2C product. So we are talking about the possibility that our sales department can implement their product and internally to our requester also. That can be another topic that I think we can develop to join business and the procurement.
Nice. And when you hear this, Christel, what are your thoughts? How does that match up with?
No, but I can really build on that. And I think first, the point is that what needs to change is the way we do procurement, right? And we strongly believe that the demand should steer the procurement and not the supply, right? And of course, we come from a world where more the supply is studied with, we know the products and, are putting us in bitten boxes on expectations. But if we really look at the demand, what is really needed, then it comes to the data as well. So, and it's how we can provide through our data analysis, what is actually the demand or the attributes of the product. And here I join what Zafer said. There are functional requirements that are very obvious for most of the products we are dealing with, but there are non-functional requirements. And these non-functional requirements are taking more and more space. It relates to ESG criteria, it relates to the supplier location, to the CO2 emissions, to all these aspects that are related to sustainability. And what we want is really to provide, again here, a very transparent way for the requester to determine what is important for them and give access to suppliers, for example, that are respecting these non-functional requirements. It might be a bit more expensive, but are more like intertwined to the values of the buyers that want to have certain of their purchasing with this value behind it. So it's really a data aspect, and in this sense, the 10x and the GenAI and the large language model are helping us to really accelerate on that, to create this full transparency on what is the demand, and then to match it to the suppliers offering through a better qualification and categorization. Yeah.
Summarizing here, we have a minute or so left here of the session here, but what I'm hearing is that basically from your perspective, Unite provides an efficient layer where you allow your suppliers in a transparent fashion to compete against each other and become vetted and almost preferred suppliers in a way in the Unite platform, allowing you to decentralize or move the responsibility away from procurement so you can focus on other perhaps more strategic activities. If I'm sitting here in the audience and sort of this sounds really interesting, what would be your recommendations from having gone through the implementation here? Where would you start? How would you go about it? If we start with you, Zafer.
Yes. So as I said, CSR is an important topic that we have to analyze because, in fact, we can find many suppliers, but we need to know more and more regarding the stakes, where we buy from, what kind of polycide subcontractor applies. So all this information we have to find by marketplace Unite. The second is, as I said, the simplicity is a very important value because if you don't have the simplicity, you cannot onboard your requester, and then it's important to implement the implementation. The charge management is very important because sometimes you can deploy a solution, but if you have anybody will use it, so it cannot be efficient.
Final words, Karsten? Very few because we're out of time.
Very few is start and just do it.
Yes, just do it. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.